Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Communities podcast by our Student Union. This episode, Beyond the Degree Postgraduate Life at UAL, is all about unique experiences of postgrad students at UAL, focusing on both the challenges and opportunities that help them to develop the skills they have gained, the personal and professional development, and resources that they have used to succeed in their postgrad life. I'm your host, Sayali Waghmare, RCSU Student Communities Officer, and I'm truly humbled to be joined by our two incredible guests today, Catherine and Abani. Ladies, welcome.
Hello.
Hi.
To start, could you please tell us a bit about yourself, your course, where are you from, and what brought you to UL?
I did my BA at CSM. I did fine art with creative computing. I had a gap of a couple of years, and now I'm back at CSM doing my master's degree in fine arts, low residency. And it's really, really fun. It's nice to have some time to just completely focus in on my kind of niche, discover what that is, and take it a lot further.
Thank you. How about you, Abani?
Hi everyone, I'm Abani. I'm from Nepal. I moved to the UK to pursue my master's in applied imagination at Centre St. Martin's. And before that, I was pursuing my career in multidisciplinary art and writing. And now I decided to choose UAL because it seemed like a community of a different art powerhouse. And it seemed like a network where I can meet people where I feel belonged. And being at UAL, I really find that sense of home in a place that's completely far away from home.
That's amazing.
Beautiful.
Thank
you
you.
both for sharing. What excited you the most about pursuing postgraduate study at UAL? Catherine?
I think the opportunity to engage in the resources and the community again, it's definitely something that really brought me to UAL is the idea that, like you said, there's this community kind of waiting for you of people who think in similar ways. I think creative community is so valuable in terms of like developing as an artist or a creative, and on top of that, having access to communal resources and like media rooms and whatever you need to support your practice is just there. UAL has really great resources and rooms like this where you can just book, come in and have a go at making what you want to make. I want access to that.
That's amazing. How about you, Abani?
I think for me, it was more about transitioning into something I really cared about. And I was in a stage of my life where I wasn't happy with my practice. And thinking that being a part of somewhere where something that you want to do is not considered outlandish or different, because I come from a community in Nepal where, we do have a thriving art scene there, but it lacks community and institutions like UAL. And for me as an international student, it was like coming to a paradise full of, people that are excelling at what they do and are so passionate about their practice. And we are so distinct, yet so similar in our own ways. And obviously the resources that I couldn't have those infrastructure back home, and just being able to have access to them so easily really changed my decision to like come to UK, because I was also looking at United States for my art degree. But I think I'm really biased now at this point because I really liked my time here.
Considering you recently finished your postgrad, how UL has been lived up to your expectation? What you expected before starting your postgrad?
Right. For me, to be very honest, it was like a dream to be here. But at the same time, when I was leaving Nepal, I was pretty much sure that I need to lower my expectations, because obviously as an international student, it's going to be the good, bad, and the ugly side to it. So I had lowered my expectations, but when I was in the classroom, I think being part of that cohort itself was pretty challenging in terms of learning to see where I fit myself within this diverse classroom and within the tutors that were completely interdisciplinary, and how can I find something relevant that can help me gain something out of it. So, yeah, although I had lowered my expectations before, but it really exceeded because I think I didn't have a set of standards that needs to be met, because my postgrad studies really surprised me with things that I never thought I would be doing.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. What opportunities have you found uniquely available to us as postgrad student at UAL, and how have they shaped your academic and professional path? Yeah.
I think a lot of opportunities at UAL kind of come through social connections. Like you said, there's a very diverse classroom. And even now, as a postgraduate, people that I'm in a classroom with are also working, and you share skills and you can work together to complement each other. Like, for example, I'm curating an art show with one of my close friends, Gabby, who is also at CSM for her BA. And we have very similar practices, but also different skill sets. And we've come together to create our own opportunities to perform and exhibit our work. And yeah, just bring together a whole community of people who have these different skill sets, and I wouldn't have that without UAL. Of course, the buildings and the learning resources on their own are a great opportunity, but I think it's who you meet, who you connect with, and where you take it that really counts. Yeah.
How about you, Abani? What do you think, like, which are the unique resources that are available for the postgrad students which help them to develop their studies or academic career further?
Right. I think for me it's the academic support, because as a master's course you get like a lot of time to work on independently than the bachelor's courses, I think, right?
Yeah.
And especially in my course, it had like a very MPhil or PhD format to it. Although it was a taught master's, it gave you a lot of agency to kind of wield your course by yourself. And I had a lot of time to work on my practice more than just going to the lectures. So during those time, I took academic support classes, which were very good. Like they were run colleges wide, so you could meet people from different schools and different courses, and like there's a lot of variety, and you get to not only talk about what you're doing, but you get to learn so much from what somebody else is doing in the project. I think that definitely stood out for me. It really changed the way I approach my project.
That's very interesting.
Could I add something to that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just thinking as you said that there is a lot of resources to support the independent study. And that's, I think, what really counts, is because that's what translates into the real world and working life.
Yeah. Also, like a lot of people don't go out and ask for that support as well. I don't know, we had that availability as well, and like people think like, should I reach out or should I not? But looking at you both, that it's actually helpful. Thank you for sharing that with our audience as well. Moving on, you said so much about social life as well. How UL has shaped to build valuable connections, because we see people saying a lot about there are not many people who feel like genuine connections or belonging or having that sense of connections or community around them. How was your experience?
I think it's probably quite different course to course. Personally, my experience, I think, is somewhat unique because my postgraduate course is low residency. So mostly we are having group discussions online, but we also have a group chat with everybody in, so it has a very informal element to it. And when we met up in person for the sort of low residency week, I think because we'd all been waiting to meet each other in person, it was even more energetic in a way, because it was our only opportunity. And from that, putting together the group interim show was really fun, and we had a lot of really interesting conversations and perspectives on each other's work. So yeah, I think every course is different in terms of its social connections, but the landscape of the buildings allows for a lot of connections, and there are opportunities to do workshops with people outside your course. And I think it's important as a student to push yourself to do those kind of things, because connections only happen when you allow them to. Yeah. And I understand, like, as a new student, anxiety can kind of get the better of you, and you might feel like you want to isolate. But it really is, when you go for it, it's so friendly, and people are here to connect. You just have to stay open-minded to it.
Oh, thank you. I mean, for the students who feel overwhelmed, it's very important to just like go out there and like ask.
Just go for it.
Yeah. How about you, Abani? What helped you to make valuable connections at UAL?
Yeah. I think foremost, I got to make new friends through UL halls. Mm-hmm. As an international student, you're always like, oh, and coming to a completely new country, I don't know anyone, and I didn't know anybody, especially from Nepal. Mm-hmm. It's really hard to find anybody who's related to a Nepalese society here. But being part of UL halls, shout out to Code Wainers. Yeah, I mean, I was really nervous at first, but Code Wainers was seriously one of the really homely places I've been to, and everyone was so friendly there. I got to meet a lot of friends, and even in CSM, I had so many friends from Code Wainers, and that's how I got to know people from different courses easily and network through their friends of friends and stuff like that. And additionally, I also got to meet more people through, I think also Arts Union also hosted some workshops now and then, like they did printmaking, cyanotype printing, and all these fun workshops. And although they seem very overwhelming, because there are so many things going on, like academic support, this and that, and but just going for this kind of activity, it kind of also helped me not take it too seriously, like not put the pressure that, oh, I'm here to socialize, but thinking that I'm here to do an activity and learn something from it. And in that process, you just socialize accidentally, like, you know, oh, I love what you're making. And and that's how you connect. And surprisingly, I made a lot of friends through that. And some of them, we are also planning to collaborate on like an animation film and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool. Like, I love the social aspect of, you know, being part of this community.
That sounds so fun.
Can I also say, like, how brave it is to, like, be an international student and, like, come here all on your own and, like, make that forge, like, into a new community.
Aww, thank you.
Yeah, I kind of think that's amazing.
That's so true. Yeah, and from her perspective, it sounds like she's really good in making, like, more network, connecting more people, and having those genuine connections is something that is key. What would be your tip for the people who feel overwhelming, like when they go for like networking? Because networking is not something that everybody is champion, or is the skill that can be built. So what would you say, like one tip for those?
I would say, since most of the events that are hosted around campus, they are mostly revolving around an activity or some sort, or even if it's a networking event, you know, when UL does it, they have like a crafts booth or something where you can just, you know, be your artsy people and like hang around. So I think something that worked for me was that I never thought, whenever I was going to an event, that, oh, I'm gonna meet this people, I'm gonna meet my future business partner or something, but rather, oh, I'm gonna learn something from this activity. And I focused on that, and then when I went there, and that's how like it lifts the pressure of like forcing yourself to talk to someone, but rather it's more like, oh wow, hey, I like what you're doing. And I think that throughout UAL, if there are courses that are not like practice-based, or even my course, they call themselves like non-disciplinary, but it's actually interdisciplinary as well. So there's this contrast. But so there are many courses that call themselves non-disciplinary, and but I think being part of an arts institution, everyone is still into arts and crafts somehow. So you connect it, and they are very keen to creating something and something together as well. So I think that's the best way to approach it from my experience. I don't know, it could work different for everyone. But yeah, it really helped my anxiety to lessen up.
Thank you for sharing your experience. I'm sure that would definitely help some people to like go just keep themselves out there and like, do networking. Catherine, what's the one underused resource that you think that every postgrad student should use?
Ooh, that's a good question. Underused resources.
That might have helped you with your project, your professional career development, or like outside just like social life.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm sorry, I'm just having a little think.
No, take your time.
I'm still thinking about networking. I think maybe one of the less used resources for undergraduate courses could be maybe like the value of like attending lectures online.
Mm-hmm.
I think sometimes we need to understand that it's really okay to learn in the environment where we feel the most comfortable and safe. And if that for you is, you know, listening to your lectures at home rather than being in the lecture theatre, I think it's really important to talk about that and say that that's okay. It very much works for me. I have ADHD and autism, and for me, I absolutely cannot focus in a large room full of people.
Mm-hmm.
As beautiful as that is, I think there should be emphasis on the fact that it's okay to learn in your own way. And I do think that UAL provides for that a lot, because there are so many online resources. I know that not just with academic support, but you can also find recordings of the guest lectures, and to take things at your own pace. And I think there are a lot of academic support officers who are comfortable helping you figure out how you learn as well. That's probably like the most important thing you can do, is understand yourself so you can approach education in a tailored way. And we should be individually responsible for pursuing that. Yeah.
Thank you. Would you like to share any resources that you think which is like underused by many students and which is really helpful?
Sure. I think when I first discovered the CSM Museum and Study Collection, I felt like why was this not talked about? Like, they have such good collection of not just art that was created by the students, but also something that they acquire once in a while, you know. And when I visited there for my research, I got to know that they still have pieces from John Galliano's sketches.
Wow.
I know, McQueen sketches, and their IDs and stuff.
Oh my god, that's
Oh
so
my
cool.
God, it is so cool.
Yeah, I want to see that.
Yeah. Not only CSM
Right.
library, it's like in every library there is archive and museum section where you will find all those collections which are like specifically archived for these particular colleges.
Are they put on display often?
Yeah, they are. I mean, they have different days. When you go online, they say it like, we are displaying this collection, this it. It's like particular for a particular occasion. But if you have to see and you ask library person, they will definitely guide you towards it.
Right.
Yeah.
So
But right, but so sorry to interrupt, but something that I found even cool was that whenever we go to see museums, we don't get to touch them. Like it's more, exclusive. It's for the eyes.
Yeah.
But at CSM, the study collection, it was like, it's meant for you to experience the tactile aspect of it and smell it and touch it and like so I think that's definitely something that more people could visit more often, and I think it would contribute to their projects even more.
That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that.
No
It's
worries.
definitely a valuable resource for students who want to develop their career in creative practices. My next question is, how do you balance your managing research work, project creativity, and your, as we say, networking? So like as a postgrad student, you only get either 1 year or 15 months. So how do you manage all these activity in that particular span of time? What's your strategy? Are you trying to be managed?
Well, my strategy was, at first I was really trying my best to be uptight. I had a Notion spread, you know, everything dang, dang, dang in all pages and stuff, calendar, blah, blah, blah. But in the end, it was all about going with the flow and letting yourself experience this. And it was, 1 year was a very short time, especially at an institution like UAL, whereas there's not just one school where you can learn so much from, but you have access to all 6 colleges and different institutes. And it's really overwhelming, you know. Every institute you visit, they have a essence and like charm of their own. And every time I used to like go to a different library, I would have a different feeling studying there.
That's so true.
And 1 year, it was a really short span of time to, you know, imbibe everything at once. But I think something that worked for me was to like just be like, oh, I can only take this one step at a time and be present at one moment at a time. But so when I am present there, I'll just try to live myself to the fullest. And that was the same with my course as well, because I loved how they were very kind, and they, you know, they were not very pushy or like, you know, they wanted us to meet our deadlines, but at the same time, we were encouraged to take our own time and find the flow and something that hits right to the spot, because we all know that creative practices, like you just put 70% of hard work sometimes, or like 99% of hard work, but there's always this 1 to 10% of thing that is just magic, you know. It comes out of nowhere. Just you do something and it clicks at that moment, and that's when it's created. So I think that is the essence of, you know, being a part of a very creative community and the creative mindset. And that's how I approach the 1 year span.
I relate to that a lot as well. I think sometimes it's important to kind of like act on daily instinct, and maybe you have a list of everything you need to do, but you allow yourself to go through it based on, you know, what's really striking your interest on that day. And that way you can kind of keep the spark alive, and when you're diving into something, keep yourself hungry for it. So like a creative approach to your own learning.
Considering you recently started your postgrad,
Yeah.
how are you managing all those stuff? Is it like overwhelming, or you make some strategies, as you said?
Yeah, I think at first it was overwhelming. Just to get back in a kind of academic space again is very different to daily life, but I definitely feel in a rhythm of it now. Like I just said, kind of like allowing my instinct to guide me, but at the same time having discipline in terms of like keeping lists and like a big overview of what I need to do, but then maybe spending 1 week on one particular topic and allowing myself to be kind of focused on just one thing for a minute, without forgetting everything else that needs to be done. So kind of like cycles.
Thank you. I hope, I mean, the way you are using all strategy and making lists, it's gonna be fine. By the end of the
Chat
year.
to me again at dissertation time, but it's good for now.
It's gonna be fine for sure. So do you think the clubs and societies for postgrad students will help to manage their stress and their social life balance as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's really important to have connections and a life away from study, and then it becomes kind of like a whole life of social experiences, especially around sport and like crafts unrelated to your practice.
That's amazing. How about you, Abani?
Yeah, I think it's really essential because, when you're pursuing something creative, you don't realize that, but for us, that's the main part of our practice. But for most people that are outside of creative jobs, what we do is their hobby. They do that as a form of escape. But for us, that's who we are. That's our entire life. And I think it's essential to have a club or a society where you can go and be someone else that you are not. And
Yeah, I get what you mean. Use a different part of your brain.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right. And I think they're really fun clubs, and they also have the Taylor Swift Society. Come on, the Swiftie right here. They even made friendship bracelets and stuff. It's so really cute. Sweet. Yeah. And you can just take off your mind from your like overwhelming projects and just be like, whatever, just chilling.
That's so nice to hear about, because we got so many societies, like they are like incredible. They host so many events as well, and we see that like not many postgrad students know about it. And it's just like, as I said, like if I have to say one underused resource, it's clubs and societies. Come on, just go out there, be part of them. It's a nice community to have, and sometimes hang out, learn from other people.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, thank you. Well, we are about the end, but looking back, what's the most unexpected skill or strength that you have developed your time at UL?
I want to say kind of like a more human approach to networking. Like we were saying before, like doing workshops together with people outside of your course creates an opportunity to kind of bond through a very human action, which is like having your hands busy whilst talking. And I think utilizing that and approaching connections with a very like genuine human stance is a really important thing to do. Yeah, and when I'm out in the world and you kind of go to an event which is networking based, if you have anxiety or it feels kind of performative, you can bring yourself back to your humanity and just approach it as a very genuine thing, trying to find like a spark in another person that you can connect to. And I think UAL has a lot of that. It's very human and nurturing in a way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. How about you, Abani? What's the one strength or unexpected skill that you have developed while you are span at UL?
For me, it was courage. That was my biggest takeaway from my postgrad degree, honestly. Whenever I used to think about, I'm going to go to this art school and like I'm going to be a better artist, that was how I used to expect I would learn at school. But being part of UAL, I came to realize that you don't become a better artist just by honing your technical skills or your philosophical strengths, but rather it's about gaining the courage to continue being an artist, because it's tough out there.
Absolutely.
And being around these people who are so passionate and driven into this craft, into this practice that may or may not yield the success they might expect it to, but just keeping that resilience within yourself and continuing it, I think that is what requires for you to be an artist. For me, that was the biggest takeaway, and I'm so glad I was able to experience that. Yeah. So, I'm definitely more courageous now, and I still remember how my course leader used to tell me, like, Abani, you can do this. Just tell me what you're afraid of, And that's when I realized that I just need more courage in my practice.
And when it gets hard, remember why you came here.
Yeah.
I always like to think of my younger self kind of like aspiring to be somewhere else. And you just have to remember that.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you, both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If you have to give one piece of advice who want to pursue or apply for the postgrad, Catherine, what would you give one advice to them?
I would say validate your dreams. I think sometimes people have a lot of pressure to pursue something that they think will fit into society or someone else's expectations. But really, like, we have one life and we should pursue what brings us the most daily joy. I think life should be about pursuing happiness. I think being happy is something that you have to work quite hard at, and that's okay. So yeah, just find that dream and like honor it. Yeah, and if the masters is allowing you to go into that niche, then allow yourself that time to specialize.
Thank you.
Yeah.
How about you, Abani? One piece of advice that you want to give people who want to pursue masters or who are starting their course now?
Yeah. I'd say be honest with yourself and go for it. That's all you need. Like, just be honest with yourself. I think for the longest amount of time, I was just feeding myself or gaslighting myself. I'm not good enough. I am not this. I'm not that. Yeah, and like feeling like an imposter. But just be honest with yourself. You know who you are underneath, and just go for it. Make it happen.
Thank you so much, both of you, for sharing your experiences and stories with us. Because that's why we say stories have power, and in every story there is a spark that connects us, one that inspires us and even changes us. You might have changed so many people's inspiration, or like when they think about joining the UAL, they will be like, just let's go for it. So thank you for sharing your experiences. If this episode resonates with you, don't forget to check out all the Communities podcast episodes on Arch's YouTube channel. And for the postgrad students listeners, explore the student services links in the description for support and resources. Thank you for tuning in. See you in the next episode. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. And good luck.
Thank you.
See you.